I'm Pupil. I represent District 99, which is in Norcross, and represents the portion of Tucker and Milton.
All right. Let's start down. Mark, Amy, you introduce yourself. We'll go up down next.
Amy Carter, Lowndes, Brooks, and Thomas counties. Pam Dickerson, 113, Rockdale, and Newton County.
Willie Kaplan, Houston County, Warren Robins, Senator.
Joyce Chandler, Gwinnett County, Fox of Blakeland, Lawrenceville, and Gwinnett County.
It's about half of us. We have still some. There's a lot of meetings going on because Terry England, our budget guy, said for us not to hold meetings. And today he said we could do it. So everybody picked 2 o'clock today, I think. I'm proud to say that we have some new staff people, and I'm proud of this staff. We've had probably we've had strong staff people in the past, but we probably had the strongest staff working with us this year we've ever had before. And I'm going to have them stand up and introduce themselves and I'll point out what they are. So, Sheena, you start off, introduce yourself, and this is going to be my administrative assistant replacing Courtney. Nobody replaces Courtney, but Courtney got a promotion, but Sheena's doing a good job, so Courtney better watch it, all right? Tell us who you...
Well, I'm Sheena Wright, and I'm excited to work for the Education Committee, and hope that I can help anybody that, needs anything.
I told her that education's important, so just overwhelm her. Go in there and just talk to her. Another person that I just could never do without. She is our staff, and she's ours. Betsy, I know you've got to go maybe to another, but Betsy, stand up. We're proud to have Betsy. Introduce yourself and tell them.
I'm Betsy Howerton. I work in Legislative Council.
And she, I tell you, she does a yeoman's job. All right, Laura, Margaret.
I'm Laura Margaret Burbach. I'm an intern for the Education Committee in Chairman Coleman's office. I'm a second-year public policy student at Georgia Tech, originally from Madison, Georgia.
And she goes by Laura Margaret, like Mary Claire Susie Jones. So she like that. Where you know that, Sarah?
My name is Sarah Arroyo, and I work for the House Budget and Research Office. I'm specifically K-12 budget.
Thank you, Courtney.
My name is Courtney Gillen. I've recently moved to House Budget and Research, but I'm working for the Education Committee still.
Yeah, I wouldn't let them. I told them they could give her promotion, but we had to keep her at least in this committee. And incoming, introduce yourself. We just introduced ourselves, so introduce yourselves, and we'll get Ron too. Ed?
Representative Ed Setzler, represent Northwest Cobb County, District 35.
All right. And Ron, introduce yourself. We're glad.
Good afternoon. Representative Ron Mayo, House District 84, DeKalb County.
All right, all right. I always embarrass him, but where's Sam? There's Sam. Sam, introduce yourself.
Representative Sam Teasley from Marietta, Central Cobb County.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm proud of this. I'm going to introduce Ron. I'm going to rather embarrass him. Ron, tell him who your famous father was. I always like to do this. Tell him who your famous father was.
My famous father is Whitney Mayo, who played Grady on Sanford and Son. 1970, Vacation and Syndication.
We were sitting there one day, and I talked to him, and I don't think you had a autographed picture of him. And I'd met him here when he appeared in the house, and I said, "Well, Ron, I got some autographed pictures of him. I'm going to take care of." So he's going to take care of us with our comedy. Anyone else come in? Did I get everybody? All right. What I'd like to do now, I think it's important. We have some state board. I'm going to tell you, we probably have the best relationship we have ever had in my 20 years down here with the State Board of Education. We have some of the finest members now of that Board of Education, and we've made a pact. We're going to attend their meetings, they attend ours, and we just have a good relationship now. And state board members, I see mine back there. Introduce yourselves.
I've got 4 members on the committee that I represent here.
Yes, right.
I represent Gwinnett County, Beaufort City, and Forsyth County.
Do we have any other state board members here today?
We're split. We're divided.
Back and forth, and they promise they'll be at all, and they will. Now, what I'd like you to do, I'd like for you to just talk about your organization. So one person from each organization. It's important for us to know who you are, because we're going to move this through quickly. Let's start on the left, over here. Just tell us who you are and what organization.
I'm Jimmy Stokes. I'm the Executive Director of the Georgia Association of Educational Leaders.
All right. Anybody? Any other organization? All right. Anybody else want to? All right. All right. All right. Anybody else over there we missed? All right. Stand up. All right. Anybody else I missed over there? Good, good. We don't put a face with all of these names because, buddy, we'll be talking to you, all right? Anybody else? All right, yes. All right. All right, now in this middle, that group, tell me who that group is. That's an interesting group.
I'm Erica Harris, and this is Olivia Johnson, working on chairs with Georgians for local area school systems in support of HR 486.
All right, give me your purpose.
Our purpose,
Give me your mission.
our mission is to provide the flexibility in the Constitution to allow for municipal school systems.
All right, okay. Anyway, what other groups now? Come on, stand up. All right, which group? All right. Any others? All right. All right. All right. All right. Anyone else? Any group? All right, over here to my right. What groups do we have? Anybody over here? Very good. Very good. All right. All right. Anyone else? All right. Now, anyone in here who has been or anybody right now that's presently a teacher, stand up. You're the ones that are important. Any teachers here? Hey, there she is. Stand up if you're a teacher right now. Stand up if you're presently teaching. That's what it's all about right there. You know, this summer when we went on the listening tours, that's one thing the teacher said. We can never come because we're teaching. We're working where we ought to be. So we appreciate you taking one of your days to come up here and be with us. Did I leave out anybody? I hope not. So, okay. Well, without any further delay, if there's nothing, we'll have time for questions in a little while. Let's move on with the agenda at this time. If you look in your agenda, you'll see there's something I want to thank my staff for. I'm proud of this. And if y'all want one, let us know. But look what our staff did. Look at this picture. I mean, we have a profile. Everybody can't escape. We know who you are. We can send these out. So we want to thank the staff for putting our picture guide here where we can have a picture to go with every name, with phone numbers and everything. And in your folder, members of the committee, you're going to see a sheet, committee member information sheet. Please fill this out and give this to Sheena. We want to update all your information. Please give us a phone number where we can reach you. So whether it's sale or whatever, where we can get in touch if we need to. That's important to have that filled out. So let's get that done. All right. Got that? And I know last year we had a little dues. Dues this year, I said, are only $5. Isn't that what a bargain you're going to get? Dues for the committee are only $5. And Tommy and his committee will be collecting your $5. So that's all our dues are this year. So we have enough to get through. So he'll be collecting your committee dues this year. All right. Any questions about any of the stuff I've just talked about? All right. If you look in your folder, let's see if we want to get the committees now. All right. Let's look at the subcommittee list now. Pull in there and you'll find a sheet that says the subcommittees. Find those. These are very important now. All right. Look there. The first one, academic achievement and curriculum. And I'm going to talk about this. We made some changes on the committee this year, and our new vice chair, and I want you to give him a big welcome. The new vice chair of our committee is going to be Mike Dudgeons. Let's welcome Mike to our committee. We're proud of that. And our secretary of our committee is Tommy Benton. Let's welcome old Tommy back. All right, Tommy. All right. Don't let me mess up now. All right, let's look at these subcommittees and the subcommittee chairs and vice chairs. Our academic achievement and curriculum, we have Mike Dudgeons as chair of that. Margaret Kaiser is our vice chair of that committee. And they'll be having some very creative, innovative things they'll be doing this year. All right, the academic innovations, that's Valerie Clark chairing it. Alicia Thomas Morgan will be vice chair of that. All right, the academic support will be Randy Nix. And his vice chair will be Joyce Chandler of that subcommittee. Look at the subcommittees. You'll notice that each of the chairs are ex officio members of every other committee. So that's important to know that, so that can have a full attendance at most of these subcommittee meetings. All right, let's move right along. Where are we? All right, I want to talk to you about some rule changes. All right, Mike? Let me get you. Let me see. All right. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, we talked a little bit ahead of time. I wanted to make one rule change to the rules we adopted last year.
was a request from the staff that we get substitutes when the people bring a substitute to a hearing and they bring it at the last minute. We don't have copies. The committee hasn't looked at it, and we also want to make sure we be able to have copies for the audience as well, so that when we're hearing a bill, everybody can look and see actually what we're talking about. The rule I'd like to add, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. We add a rule to the committee that if an author has a substitute for a bill, it must be submitted to the Education Office at least 1 hour before a subcommittee or full hearing. So I'd like to make that a motion for a rule change and ask for a second.
First of all, do I have a second? I have a second. Do I have any discussion? All right, 17. Reverend Setzler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not unfriendly to this. I guess the question is, if someone brought a substitute or an amendment, does this apply to amendments? And if they bring 30 amendments or 40 amendments, could they bring it to committee? I mean, I'm presuming this is so that copies can be made.
Yeah.
If you bring your own copies, is it possible, particularly for amendments, to bring them to committee?
I don't object to that. I think that makes sense.
I think it makes good
sense. The
sense.
intent is that if there's a substitute, you have the wrong version of the bill. If you have it ahead of time, it confuses people because you're in the folder and you have the old version. I think a substitute an hour, but amendments, if they bring copies, I'm okay with that. So,
and I would like, only thing I'm saying is, the reason I'm for this, I would like to know. I don't want to be caught off guard. If if you're bringing some, 5 or 6 or 7 amendments, I'd like to know. Just let me know. You can have them. Bring them here. Just say I'll be bringing some amendments. Where we'll know that would be for, and especially the substitute. But if you have the copies, I see no problem with it.
And I ask the question because if that applies to amendments, or if it were to apply to amendments, it would have the effect of every bill in committee being a modified open bill, and that's that you have to have an hour in advance.
That's not the intent.
That's not the intent. Bring yours.
A full substitute.
Full substitute only.
Full substitute only.
Full substitute. And again, while we're in discussion here, you may amend it. That's a different story.
So exactly, the committee can still amend. So I'm going to amend my original thing, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay with the committee, to say if the author has a full substitute for a bill, must be submitted 1 hour in advance.
A full substitute. All right.
That makes a lot of sense. Ed. Good.
Okay. We had a motion and we had a second, so we have to have a motion to amend. Well, you're making a motion to amend the motion.
Add the word full.
To add the word full, to have a second to that. All right, any discussion on that? All right, so what we'll do is take the vote. We're taking a vote to amend the motion to add the word full. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Now we're going to vote on the change to the rules. Any questions or discussions? All right, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay, it passed. That's being changed to our rules.
All right.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I get a couple more comments on that. We would also ask the authors if they can to give us an electronic copy. So we're going to try to do more electronic distribution from the committee to the education community so they can see what we're working on. That's just a request, not a rule. And again, intent is going to be whatever we have in advance, we're going to make copies for the audience. So that's sort of our procedure for coming up this year.
And that was one of the criticisms we had last year. Many of the in the audience didn't know about it, couldn't see it, and we didn't have copies. So we want to be sure we take care of everyone that would like to have the information. All right, anything else?
That's it, Mr.
All right, let me see that. All right, at this time, I'd like to just take a few minutes to just, first of all, thank this committee. When we started these listening tours this summer, I didn't know what to expect. We'd never done this. This is something that had never been done in the state of Georgia. No other committee that had some listening sessions but never had done anything like this. And we decided as an education committee from the House, with the Speaker's blessing, we invited the Senate to join us, that we would just take a tour all over the state. And ladies and gentlemen, let me say I want to thank you, because I think most members of this committee attended at least one session. Some of you attended all of them, but I think all of us attended all but maybe one. I think everybody missed one. And I want to commend our moderators. Randy, Mike, y'all did a yeoman's task moderating these things. Some of them got a little hot, but y'all handled them real well, and I appreciate what y'all did, and I appreciate everyone who attended. But we traveled over 2,000 miles, ladies and gentlemen, over this state. We had 8 sessions. We started in Noonan, went up to Dahlonega, Gwinnett. We went to, went to Eastman, went to Vidalia, went to Albany. We were in Savannah, Augusta. And we had over 150 of the 180 superintendents who attended. I want to thank our Superintendents Association. Raise your hands. I know they're here. And I want to thank our School Boards Association. What a task they did notifying their members, school board members, superintendents. Had a couple of hundred board members attend. We had over 1,400 teachers and parents. Teachers told us, just like you, we can't come during the day, so come to us. So we met from 3 to 4 at all these meetings with superintendents. Sometimes we went to 4:30 most of the time. We met from 4:30 to 5:30 to 6 with board members, and then we met from 6:30 to 9 most of the time with parents, with teachers, and with community members. I think it was Vidalia where we had bus loads come down. We asked them, did they pay for the bus? You know how they did that. But we had bus loads come down to speak. We had as many as 56 teachers and parents that spoke at one of these. And so we had a great amount of input. But I think what was so interesting, and all of you are going to get this. Mike, do you have that right here, that sheet? Let me see. Here it is. We had, at every one of them, Courtney and Sarah, y'all attended all of them, and they took and summarized everything. But basically 5 things came out. And those were about funding, austerity cuts. Superintendents were concerned about the austerity cuts. They felt like we needed to start restoring those where possible. They said, we know we can't do it all at one time, but let's show some good faith. Please help us out, start restoring those. They talked about the health insurance for non-certs. That was a real concern of theirs. And is there anything we could do to help them out? The rural systems were real concerned about sparsity grants and equalization grants. Whatever you can do to help us out. We found that 19 of our school systems, I'm going to tell you, when we visited some of the schools, y'all that went with us, we were shocked to find that some of these school systems were on the verge of bankruptcy. We found a system that had 400 students. One meal generated $33,000 a month. That's all they got out of one meal. We found they didn't have a Walmart. They said they had no way to collect East Plus. They wanted to collect taxes by zip codes. They thought it would be fair. But we heard all kinds of things and saw things that really did open my eyes. We found that the RESAs were very important to the rural systems, maybe not to Metro, but RESAs were critical. Another thing that was very interesting, Common Core. We heard Common Core. We had about 12 people that followed us around at every one of them. That were against Common Core. We had those that were for it. Unanimous. The superintendents were unanimously for it. Board members were not quite unanimous. Parents, it was split. But I guarantee you, we'll talk about that later. We're going to have a good discussion of Common Core later on in this session. The teacher evaluation system, we call it the TEKS and LEAKS. There was a lot of discussion about those, not enough hands to do it. What made me feel so good, teachers said, we like being evaluated. We love the new system. We, for the first time, have our principals and in the classroom with us looking at us, but we feel you need to give us more hands. We don't have enough hands to do it. The small school systems were having trouble finding teachers and finding superintendents. They encouraged us, and we're going to do that, to bring back the return to work bill, especially for some superintendents and for some principals. Hey, the East Plus, using it for things, for M&O, things other than capital. Last year that got we just killed that because we heard there was so much anti out there, but after we talked about it, it was almost overwhelming that they felt like we ought to bring that up again and allow systems to use that East Plus part of that for M&O. But what I want to share with you, you're going to be getting this on your desk, and we're going to send these out to all the organizations. I want to commend our budget staff, but they went through the governor. We promised these people we'd come back, we'd meet with the governor, we'd meet with the speaker, we'd meet with the lieutenant governor, and we did. And I want to say, I'm proud to say our governor, his budget funded every single thing or addressed every single thing we asked for. I can't find a thing that he didn't address, and I appreciate him listening and what he did. And what Courtney and her staff and the staff has done, they went by each of these and they placed where budget items were placed in order to address these needs. Technology, I don't even have that one on here, but that was a key item. That was a key item from the QB Study Commission. Look what we got in the budget for that. The capital outlay and all of that. So you'll be getting this, use this, and know what we did. So I want to say, first of all, I thank you all for coming. I thank all of you who attended. I see all the people out in the audience that attended these. Again, superintendent said they've never had anything like this. It was overwhelming. I was touched. I think the superintendents and boards and parents were touched, and I learned something I never thought that I would know. We visited every area of the state, and I'm going to tell you, people, it's a different world when you get out of metro area and you see what's going on in this state. But the thing that made me feel so good, there's some great things going on. Good education is taking place everywhere, and people are working hard. And let me tell you, teachers They are the backbone of this whole thing, and they're working themselves to death, and we appreciate what they're doing. So thank y'all that helped out. Any questions about the listening session? Okay, Mike, are you next on?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next step on the agenda is to talk about the way we're going to do bills this session. Chairman talked about doing a little bit differently. We get a lot of bills dropped in education, and we're only going to assign bills to subcommittee that have already been through a little bit of approval process with the chairman and his advisors to get a hearing. So we're not just going to routinely assign a bill to subcommittee. So the steps are, if you get assigned to subcommittee, that's step one. Obviously, step two would be the committee would have to be comfortable taking a vote, and then of course move through the process. So if you're an author of a bill and you don't get a hearing, you need to talk to the chairman, myself, Tommy, or a member of the committee, and we will meet regularly and sort of look over the bills and figure out which ones are worthy of hearings. As we know, we can't hear every bill around this place. There's not enough time, and we have to sort of make decisions based on what we think the right bill priorities are. On that note, Mr. Chairman, I do have some bills to assign to subcommittee for the 2014 term.
Now, as Chairman Dudgeon is saying, these bills will get a hearing.
No.
As they're being signed now. These are ones that are priority.
All right, so first bill, and this is the numerical order, is House Bill 405 by Representative Mayo around governing boards for charter organizations. And that goes to academic innovations. So House Bill 405, academic innovations. Second bill is actually it's two bills together, House Bill 519 and House Resolution 550 by Representative Jaspers around local school superintendent's election if done by the local delegation. That goes to academic achievement. So again, that's House Bill 519 in conjunction with House Resolution 550, election of local school superintendents. Next bill is House Bill 669 by Representative Oliver for local boards to agree to interventions by the state board in terms of removal proceedings. Representative Oliver, House Bill 669, and that also goes to academic achievement. House Bill 717 by Representative Holt around a system for determining parental involvement in public schools. Academic innovation. House Bill 717, academic innovation. House Bill 766 by Representative Blumsen around Work-Based Learning Act goes to academic achievement. House Bill 766. House Resolution 486 by Representative Taylor, municipalities. This is the extra municipal city school system resolution. House Resolution 46, Representative Taylor to academic support. We already mentioned House Resolution 550. We went with academic achievement, Representative Jaspers. And the final one for today, Mr. Chairman, is House Resolution 689, Representative Drenner, an urging resolution around renewable energy systems for school systems. Those are the bills for today. Authors who have more, obviously, contact the chairman or one of us, and we'll try to work with you and see whether we can get in a spot for a hearing. I'm sorry, 689 to academic support.
One thing you need to keep in mind, members of the committee, every piece of legislation that did not pass last year was referred back to the full committee. We took them, we have them here. Some we have a hold on. And the ones, of course, that passed, we have that. But we're waiting to hear from the author. A couple of our authors are no longer with us, so we know that. But we're waiting to hear if they would like to, what their desires are. But this does not mean we will not hear these others. But this is where we are at the present time. These ones have had a request. Any questions about what we've done so far? Any questions? All right. Any questions about the process that we're trying to go through? Every Monday morning or Tuesday, we're trying to work out the time, but the three of us, we will meet to look at what's been assigned, and we will invite other members of the committee to join us, possibly discuss things, and the authors of some of these bills to meet with us also to talk about their bills. That way we think it'll be a fair process. Any other comments?
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Then we're back getting to the home stretch. Based on our listening sessions, based on where we feel we need to go to complete our task that we did in the QB Study Commission and the listening sessions and with the budget, I have set, along with some help from many of you, basically 3 priorities of things that I would like to see this committee as 3 of our pieces of legislation for us to work on this year. And I like to give these a full-blown discussion. There is, or not necessarily is, or there will be a piece of legislation to address all of them. And the 3 things, and if you want to discuss a little bit today, we can, but the 3 things that we will be concentrating on that I think are important. First of all, flexibility. As all of us on this committee know, we've been talking about this now for, 2-3 years. Next year, we hit the wall. You know, we've given these schools flexibility for the last 4 or 5 years, and we heard overwhelmingly in our listening sessions, give us the flexibility. That has saved our lives. The right to class sizes, expenditure control, salaries, adjunct professors to hire, a lot of the flexibility. But as it stands now, if nothing is done, this will expire and you will have to choose charter systems, i.e. square, or status quo. We did not have one superintendent that thought status quo was any, they said, we don't want to be status quo. Call us strategic systems. Call us something else. We have done better. We don't want to stand still. There's a lot of confusion about what charter systems are, as they told us. Call it flexibility 1, or charter schools one thing, charter systems entirely different. So we have a piece of legislation right now, you all know. It's House Bill 327 that's sitting over in the Senate. We're hoping to maybe perfect or work with the Senate. But that is a top priority, to have more discussion on flexibility. We're going to bring some superintendents in, different groups, to discuss where we need to go with that. Any questions on that? A second priority that we have is Title 20. Now, there have been a lot of, there was a lot of discussion. Those of us who attended, a lot of superintendents said, this bothers us, this is not right. So we asked them to send us items in the law, or items in the policy that were tying their hands or they felt needed to be eliminated. We also asked the state board, we asked different people to give us that. I think, Mike, you have right now, 30-something or 30-something things that have been given us that we need to eliminate, or we need to add to, or we need things with charters, virtuals, different things. And so we're looking at those. There is a Title 20 bill that we have. So you will be getting copies of it to look at it before we start debating it. But if there's anything you've heard that needs to be added to or eliminated, let us know. Also, there are a lot of little small pieces of legislation out there. I want to help everyone that wants to get their bill passed, but many times you can just add that to Title 20 and get it taken care of. We don't need to do a piece of legislation. And I'm going to tell you, all of us know, everything's not going to be get out of rules. We're not going to be able to pass 15, 20, 25 bills. So if you have something you just want to get done, let us know. Let's try to work it through Title 20 if we can. Any questions with that? Any questions on that? Mike has that. He's drawing it up. And I don't know who'll be carrying these others. I may be asking some of you to be carrying some of this too, so y'all just will be working with us. A third priority that I have that I think we need to do is around Common Core. I don't think we've had enough discussion on this. And I don't want anybody to say that we haven't given all the people that want to say something the opportunity to speak. So you can be assured there will be ample opportunity for us to have some listening sessions to give people a chance to come in and talk both sides, pro and con, talk as we draft. Now, I can assure you there's going to be some kind of legislation on Common Core. The House will be voting on something. What it is, we're working with the governor's staff right now. We're working with the governor, the lieutenant governor. We're working with Senator Liggins. We're working with him. We're working with all the different groups trying to come up with what we think can be accepted for this discussion of Common Core and the concerns. And I'm saying this to the audience. I'm saying this to everyone. Anything, and I've asked this at every listening session we have, anything, don't just say I don't like it, total. That's not an answer. Give me the specifics that you're concerned about. Give us the standard. We know math is a problem. You have your integrated math phasing out, your traditional math. We know that. The state board, I have our state board there. They are having now, 30 or 40 listening sessions throughout the state, taking these standards, asking parents to tell them what needs to be added or subtracted. And I'm asking our audience, give us specifics. Data sharing. What data do you want shared? What are you afraid of not going? And don't say it could be, but tell me what is happening. That's what we're looking for. Give it to us, and I guarantee you it'll be taken, it'll be looked at. And same thing with this committee here. So this committee will be holding these listings and be holding these hearings and give anybody an opportunity to come and testify and give a chance to present the data they want. We ask you, if you come, to bring a written document, talking points, so that you don't just have to tell us. We want it in writing what your concerns are and what you'd like to discuss. That will be one of the topics. Any discussion on that? Any question? Amy, matter of fact, has a teacher, I think, that we've talked about. We may want to invite in, that said she would like to appear. So we want to try to get those teachers an opportunity to come in that would like to talk. Principals, parents, anyone that would like. College professors. I think Randy has a college professor that said she'd like to present. So we want to invite anyone to come in. And all we're trying to do is get the facts, the true facts of what really happened and what really is going on. So any questions, committee members? One thing that I want to, has always been my policy for the audience to know. I want people to have an opportunity to speak, but the place to speak is in subcommittee meetings. I invite you to attend a subcommittee meeting and present. And I guarantee you, we're going to give you the opportunity this year. We've had some criticism before, but no, you're going to have the opportunity to talk and to speak. But that's where you will be presenting. When it gets to the full committee, and I encourage these committee members to attend these subcommittee meetings if you have questions. Now, in the full committee, the committee asks questions unless there's been new data introduced or it's been a turn of events. We may give the audience, I'm not saying we won't give them a chance to say, but most of your discussion and your questions and your participation will be in subcommittees. Any questions on that? All right. We're coming to the close, all right? Any other questions? All right, I'm going to do this. Now, is there anyone in the audience, I'm not going to take a lot, that would like to ask a question? Anyone in the audience would like to ask a question? Step up. If anybody, step up to this mic, and I'll give you a second to ask a question. Come up to the mic, right? Or you can stand there if you think.
It's just a quick question. Could I get the name again of the person who is chairing the subcommittee for academic support?
All right, let's do that. All right, academic support, that's Randy and Joyce. Joyce, hold up your hand. All right, academic achievement, Mike, right here, hold up your hand, and Margaret. All right, and innovations, Valerie, Representative Clark, and Representative Morgan is not here. She had another meeting. All right, any other questions? We'll take one or two more. That's it. Okay. All right, yes, ma'am.
Would it be possible to get the picture sheet with all the committee members?
Yes, I will have them. It won't be the quality that you would get, but it'll be. We'll have them Xerox some for you. Yeah, we don't mind you. Just don't use it as a dartboard in your. No, we'd be glad to share some. That's. I think I really appreciate what the staff has done. Who did that? That was good. I appreciate your staff of it. Okay, thank you so much. All right. Anybody else? One more question. Anybody? Burning question. Okay. And I would like to have from you. I'm going to ask David McCleskey. I always put him on the spot. I'm going to ask David. He did something I think a couple of years ago. I would like. It was the best thing I had. If all of you lobbyist groups, if you would like to be on, I'm going to ask David, and he'll get it, and you can give it also to Sheena. But give us your information and give us your names, your phone numbers, if you want to be on our mailing list. We have a huge mailing list, and as Mike and I and Tom and I have discussed, we plan to send stuff out. We're going to ask the Georgia School Boards Association. We're going to ask the Superintendent Association. Give us their emailing list. We're going to blast you with information. So if you want to be on there, Sheena, hold up your hand again. I want you to give her your names and email address, and David will help us, and we want to get yours, and you'll be included. If you don't get it, it's because we don't have your stuff, because we're going to get it out to you. All right, anything else good for the order? I certainly appreciate this committee. It's a great committee, and I'm proud to be working with them, and we stand adjourned. Thank you so much. Well, you don't